Hello again, readers, back for another conversations with candidates. I am Jim Wertz, contributing editor to the Erie Reader here at eriereader.com. I'm also the chairman of the Erie County Democratic Party, and so it's my pleasure to help our Democratic candidates find you at eriereader.com. Joining me today is Kristy Gnibus. Kristy is a first-time candidate taking a big step forward, running for Congress here in Pennsylvania's 16th congressional district. Kristy, thanks so much for taking some time out of your digital campaign to talk to us today.
Absolutely, glad to be here.
So let me ask you, I'll get into your bio here in just a second, but talk to me for a minute about how your campaign has changed since you've moved 100% online. You guys were busy. You were up and down the 16th congressional district in every corner and every hollow. For those who don't know, the 16th district includes Erie County, Crawford County, Mercer, Lawrence, and a large swath of Butler County. And so that's a lot of territory to run. And you've been tackling it well, but now here we are, isolated and online. So tell us about how that's changed things for you.
My whole world has changed, just like much of everyone else out there. I am a school teacher, so my schedule is completely different too. So here I am at home all day with my family and my kids, and trying to navigate my new career as a teacher online, and also figure out how to campaign online as well. I think the biggest difference is I'm no longer able to greet people, to shake their hands, to visit them in person, to go throughout the district like I have been. And that's quite difficult. Being online it's great that we have that option. The difference is not everybody is accessible online. So I've been spending a lot of my daytime calling people throughout the district and throughout Pennsylvania, checking in on them, seeing what issues are utmost importance to them at this moment, and of course, going forward, what they're looking for in a representative. So instead of going out and doing my usual meet and greets and going to events and going to fundraisers, everything has really just switched to online. So calls, I've been using Zoom, which we're using right now quite frequently, I'd say multiple times a day, and just doing the best outreach I can to make sure that constituents know that I'm still here, still working incredibly hard to be their next representative here in District 16.
You mentioned that you are a teacher and trying to navigate the teaching into an online phase here as we all figure out what the future of education looks like in an online only world. But you're also a mother. Tell us a little bit about your story for the folks who haven't gotten an opportunity to meet you, get to know you yet.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was raised by my mother. Single-handedly, she raised my older sister and I. We actually grew up out in the Wattsburg School District area in a little township called Greenfield. And it was on 100 acres, so very rural. There was no walking to your neighbors or anything like that. It was very secluded. And so we learned at a pretty young age to work pretty hard for everything that we have. And I'm very grateful for that. I was the first person in my family to go to college. I knew that I wanted to be a teacher. At a pretty young age, I was very enthused at being at school. I looked to my teachers as role models, and I knew that that was something that I wanted to do. So that's what I did. I went to college, and while I was there, and it was quite successful, I found out that I had ovarian cancer. So that quite, like anybody, it definitely turned my world upside down. And at a pretty young age, I was only 20 years old in college, navigating the insurance industry and trying to figure out how am I going to make sure that I'm healthy and I'm still able to complete college, because I didn't want to be another statistic. I didn't want to drop out. And I wanted desperately to make sure that I was successful, because at that same moment, I was expecting my first daughter. So I was, like many people, in college under my parents' insurance and my mother's. And after I gave birth to my oldest daughter, Zoe, I was no longer able to be on my mother's insurance because I was not her dependent anymore. And so I actually went out without insurance for a little while, and then worked to to be covered by the government's programs. And I didn't utilize just healthcare. I was able to utilize things that helped me with foods, SNAP, heating assistance, and some other, childcare assistance as well. And if it wasn't for those programs, I certainly would not be where I am today. And so 14 years later, I am cancer-free, I am a teacher, and I am a mother of 2 wonderful girls. And so here I am as a teacher, and I was able to kind of look back on those experiences as a really, a lesson that I think many people are going through. And I wanted to take my real life experience going through those programs, having cancer, struggling with the healthcare industry, and put them to good use. I am finishing up my PhD in leadership, and while there, also very inspired by other leaders, especially female leaders, and wanted to take the next step into my career and do something that was still serving the community, and that was going to be a positive impact, and something that I wanted my girls to look at down the road and say, that was really inspiring, and my mom did something wonderful to help her community. And so after actually conversations with you, Jim, and conversations with people like Kathy Dahlkamper and some other amazing leaders in the community, I felt like this was the right move for me. And so here I am running for Congress, putting my 110% in, and here we are in the pandemic as well, certainly not planned, and navigating, doing something different, just like many, many people out there are doing.
So I think this moment that we're in, facing this pandemic, facing the COVID-19 crisis, that really people maybe more than ever are thinking about what's happening in Washington and Washington's response to all of this. And I think, a big part of your platform and a big part of your story has been healthcare in this country. What are you hearing from voters? Healthcare remains an important issue in the 16th district. What's your take on what people are experiencing? And if you were to be the next representative of the 16th district, what's your solution for those folks?
Well, being somebody that has been without insurance and having something like cancer, I can only imagine the fear that people have right now if they were to get sick with COVID-19 and not have insurance. And so, a current representative said something, and she said something to the effect of, we're not just fighting one thing like a virus, we're fighting 2 things, and that's a virus and fear. And so I think right now, this very moment has put healthcare, it was certainly a top issue for many people, but now it's put it in the main focus and how exceptionally important healthcare is. And if anybody's sick during this crisis, we hear over and over that, it's something that's going to be taken care of and covered, but there are a lot of holes in that. Is it for people that just have insurance already? Is it for anybody? So I think, my main message before this happened was that, healthcare is something that everybody should have. You cannot be successful without your health. You cannot be an entrepreneur. You cannot be a service worker. You can't do much of anything. And so we have to have our health above anything else. So for me, it's really the same message, but I think it's, certainly put into laser focus now that we are dealing with this pandemic, COVID-19. And so what I would do, I certainly would not be cutting people's benefits. I would not be cutting people's healthcare, Social Security. I would not be putting Medicaid or Medicare on a chopping block like our current representative is doing. I certainly would not take away people's right to be healthy. And so that's step 1. Step 2, I think, is certainly coming up with a better plan to make sure that everybody is covered and that no one is going without health care. And I think that could look multiple ways. I think the first thing we need to figure out is how are we going to get through this moment in time, and then look at how we can work on a solution that makes sure that everybody is covered. Because I think that is my message before, and it's going to continue to be my message.
What else are you hearing from folks throughout the 16th district? You have a robust platform that you're running on, and I assume I know that that education is a big part of that platform too. What are you hearing from other voters when you get past that key issue? That I think everybody's thinking healthcare all the time. I know that's been my experience throughout the district as well. But everybody has a unique concern. Everybody has their own interests. And what are they not hearing from their current representative that they'd like to hear from you?
I think obviously, like we just said, healthcare is certainly up there at the top. Other things are innovation and the economy, which I think ties into the majority of my platform. You know, again, you can't have a robust economy without your health, and you can't have innovation also without the ability and the legislation that allows that. And that also ties into the issue of climate. So I think all of these things really, really kind of fall back and are side by side with the economy. The economy is something I hear all the time. And even when people's issues are healthcare or climate, it's the economy. And if you look at what's happening here in Western PA, or I just had conversation with some people down in the Butler area, their concerns with steel and with what's going on with the tariffs, and how there's a possibility of over 1,500 jobs that could be lost because of those tariffs. And so we need representation that is going to protect people's jobs, because at the end of the day, people vote for their paycheck. You know, so people want to know that they're going to be able to put food on the table for their families, and that they're going to be able to take care of themselves and their families. And so the economy, and it's, you know, it's fighting for innovation, and it's fighting for renewable energy, and it's fighting for the ability for Western PA to, you know, catch up to some of the other areas that are doing those things. And so we need a forward-thinking representative that's going to allow that to happen, and fight for what's best for the people here in Western PA, regardless of what's going on elsewhere.
If people want to know more about you, want to know more about your campaign, they want to get involved, how can they find you digitally these days? And for those of you that haven't been following, Kristy's held a number of Facebook Live events and Zoom town halls and meet and greets. And so there's a number of avenues to reach the campaign. Where's stop one? Where can they sign up?
I think the best place to go is to my website. If you don't have social media, it doesn't matter. You can sign up. We have a lot of virtual opportunities for you to help out. So if you go to www.kristyforcongress.com, and that's all spelled out, there's a little place to sign up and says join the team. You just fill out a few things and we will get you started there. And then of course I'm on every platform there is. So please follow me there. If you do have social media, I am on Facebook under Kristy for Congress. I'm on Twitter, same thing, Instagram. I'm sure there will be more in the future. There's a few I haven't hit yet, but those are the top three that I use the most. So I'm always available. And now that we are completely online, I try to make it one of the priorities to make sure I'm consistently checking my email and my social platforms.
That's great. Thanks so much, Kristy. I appreciate you taking the time today. Again, that website is kristyforcongress.com, all spelled out there, kristyforcongress.com. And I want to encourage everybody to think about how they're going to vote for Kristy June 2nd in the May primary, and then again in November in the general election. We're encouraging everybody to use that mail-in ballot. And you can apply for that mail-in ballot at votespa.com, VOTESPA.com. You just click on the apply button at the top of the page and walk yourself through the process. It's very easy, couple of steps. They'll send you the ballot in the mail. And thanks to the County Board of Elections and Erie County Council, it's postage paid to return that ballot, both for the primary and the general election this year. So make voting easy, make voting safe, and stay healthy, everyone. Kristy, thanks again. I really appreciate you taking a couple minutes out of your busy digital campaign to talk to us and to talk to the voters of the 16th district.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.